Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty, hey traders, John Howell here. Today we're going to be looking at, just a bit of an update on silver, gold. We're looking at the mining stocks. I'm also going to be looking at that big cup and handle pattern on gold and why it's still forming on that big picture and why we might be just another few months away from parabolic moves in gold. And then also lastly, I'm going to share with you the one stock, one of the gold stocks anyway. I'm pretty sure it's a gold stock that I see is a pretty good buying opportunity soon. I'm going to give you potentially a couple of different entry points that may be going along with that particular one stock. So keep an eye out for that one stock that I really like, and I've been watching very closely for me personally for an entry signal on that. So I'll get to that now. Firstly, let's actually do a bit of an update on the markets on a short-term basis. Moving over now through to gold. Look at the last 6 months here, and we can see on gold we've had a very. Let me just bring up a chart. One thing I strongly recommend you do, guys, is that one of the worst things we can do right as a trader is we can throw our thoughts, we can throw our hopes and all this sort of stuff into our trading. Well, I think it's going to go up, so let me just buy now. It's like, that's not a really good strategy, right? We need something to give us concrete of that. And so, one of the best things to do is just to come back and see what the market's telling you, because it's the market we're trading, right? We're not trading based on hopes and fears and dreams and stuff like that. We're not trading based on that. We need to be trading based on the market. And the more we can become present with the market, the better decisions we're going to do. I was actually doing some live trading today with some clients of mine, and I was saying the exact same thing that some of these stocks look like they're going to go up, and I was talking about a few stocks, but we can't, just because I think they're going to go up doesn't mean I'm going to trade it. Where I did get into a trade today, and that one trade is like, no, I'm getting into this because there's a high probability, probably 80% probability that we're going to make an enormous move, and I'm probably going to make over, I reckon, a couple of 100% return on the option by the time this trade eventuates, and over the next month or two, I'm probably going to make 2, 3, maybe even 400% return on the option. And it has an 80% chance of actually doing that. Anyway, that was based on a system and strategy. But the purpose of me saying that is that I don't ever get on hope and fear. I just want to get based on what the market's telling me and what the charts are telling me. So always bring it back to just a blank chart. As you can see, I love bringing it back to black bars, because the black bars for me, they bring it back to a neutralize, right? Because there's so much, because we are trading with our own money, right? And I have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the markets right now myself, that can cause emotions, right? Up and down. And we want to try to remove the emotions as much as possible. So one of the ways that I do that for myself to try to keep me calm, right? Because if you've got a lot of money in the markets like I do, right, at this very point in time, what's going to happen is that I want to be able to make good decisions without the emotions. And by removing the green and red candles out and the green and red bars and just looking at black bars, I can just get a good look at, okay, this is what the market's doing right now and this is how it's unfolding. Make sense? So let's have a look through here. So what we're doing right now is we can see gold has actually continued to be let's actually bring up the last 3 months here. Very last low. We had a high low. You can see how it all picked it up through there. And now we're just sort of squeezing through here. We've got this little downward phase happening right now when it comes to gold. So we're really just squeezing up into this sort of triangle pattern here. Really are just squeezing up into that. Also, if we ever actually look at the GOD, we can see the GOD. Let me actually just take that off the screen there. Actually, that GOD, this trend line here, I'm just looking at my other screens. That trend line there, this trend line here, if I go to my weekly charts and zoom it out, I can see how that level, look at this here, that was that major levels of support and resistance back through here, as you can see. So that possibly could be a bit of an area of support that's happening right now. You can see that we definitely did have a lot of areas of the bouncing, a lot of area. There you go. There's some grammatically correct thing for you. You can see how we bounced off there. We actually broke through it here, but look at this all rejection through here. So this whole level really, even in the past, had a lot of problems through here. So we actually broke back above. So if I go back to my daily chart now, and let's go back to the 3-month view to zoom back in, look what's happening here, right? We're actually going sideways through here, but we're staying above this major level here. Remember, this is that long-term support level. So we actually could be getting ready for, a bit of a bounce. This whole area through here is a bit of X marks the spot, where we have this major support line, and then we also have, which is right through here, and then we also have this level through here as well too. So we're just going up and we're going sideways. So if we can start, if we can start to break above, say, this level through here, right? Because we're sort of squeezing up. We had a bit of a move up. Let's bring up the last sort of maybe 4 or 5 months here to make it a bit more clearer. We are sort of squeezing up through here. So I would say if we can start to get a bit of a break up, especially if we can start to break above these highs here, then we're probably looking at that there. That would then, if we can start to break above these highs here, then we have the next major resistance up here on the GLD, which is that 184 level. That's that next major resistance. So on a short-term basis, guys, if we can break above, if we can hold here and start to go sideways a bit more, and we have this trend line coming up through here, which is that major support line, and we start to go, if we can start to go sideways a bit more through here on a short-term basis, and then give a nice little breakaway bar like that, then that's going to be really, really nice. And then the probability, there's a real high probability we're going to at least have a move back up towards that move through there, which doesn't look like much, but it's a nice 2 or 3% to the resistance there. And then we're probably going to continue up to all-time new highs on that one there. So that's what's happening right now when it comes to the GLD. Let's have a look at the SLV price, which is basically silver. And the big thing with silver, if I go back to my weekly charts here, is the weekly charts are still in a strong upward trend. So we can see that we have low, or we have a low, then we have another significant higher low, and now we've made another significant higher low through here. So we're continuing, the buyers are continuing to make these higher lows. So even if we did get a bit of a pullback on the short term through here, we're probably likely to make another higher low. And then when the break does happen, the break is probably going to be really, really big. So that's on the big picture there. On the small picture, on that daily charts, let's zoom back into the last 3 months. And you can see what I'm doing here, right? You can see how that I'm going from the big picture, that weekly charts, and going to the small picture on the daily charts. Because if we look at the small picture on the daily charts, we can get a nice little entry signal on that. But if we look at the big picture, we want to make sure that there's no resistance, nothing stopping us from that trade actually working out for us. Make sense? If there is any level of resistance in the past and we do get it, and you do get a good entry signal, you've just lessened the probability of that actually running. But you can see through here, let's actually bring up, say, the last 6 months as well. You can see how we're just still squeezing up into this triangle pattern through here. So looking at all this, if we can get a very nice, strong breakout next week, then that's going to lead us into a really, really nice upward move, as you can see, right? Because we're squeezing up here. And when the squeezing happens, we generally get a break, and the break actually happens quite strongly. So there's actually a really, really, really good opportunity happening through there. So that's that one. Let's have a quick look around just on a short-term basis on the gold and silver mining stocks, and then I'll get into that one stock, guys, that I really like. So on the mining stocks, we're still really, really nicely trending up. We have a nice higher low through here. Actually, let's bring up the last 3 months once again, so we can just look at the last 3 months. You can see how we had a bounce, moved up. We had a bounce, higher low, move up, bounce, higher low. We had a move up from there to there. Now we're coming back down. So let's actually just see. It'll be really interesting to see if this trend line does hold. We got a bit of reversal yesterday. And now we actually got a bit of a just sideways day. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether we do continue up into that next week. One thing, guys, one thing that's really important to do is when you're analyzing the markets and analyzing the charts, one of the most important things to do is always be flexible. We have this trend line here right now, but if it does break, then we need to reassess and see what the market's telling us. Make sense? Moving over that through to the GDX as well too. And the GDX is still hovering around this level. So we may even get a bit of a downward movement, but we're still in this very, very nice upward movement through here. And we're just going through a bit of a sideways phase. So we could be getting ready for another nice move, which I do see. I do see we're likely to get a very nice, strong turning point here soon. looking at the GDX, and also looking at the GDXJ as well too. So I do see good turning points coming soon, possibly even next week, guys, moving into the gold mining stocks. The SILJ as well too, you can see how we just got a very, very sideways phase, not much going on, but the trend, as you can see, the trend has definitely been move up, move down, move up, move down. We had a move up, and now we're just going sideways. So, but as you can see, the overall trend is still very, very nicely to the upside, and we're not totally overbought yet on this SILJ, not just yet compared to the GDX and the GDXJ. We're getting to that. We're getting to a very overbought situation now on this pullback, so we could potentially see a bit of a run from there. Moving over now through to the SIL. And the SIL, same sort of thing. We're not totally, compared to the gold mining stocks, we're not totally overbought yet, but we are getting into the overbought situation, just not as much as the gold mining stocks. And we are hovering around through here. Again, just still sideways. And once again, we still have this trend line coming through here. So it's going to be really interesting to see if we can get a nice little break up. And if we do, then we're probably in for another nice move. So it can be really interesting to see what actually happens through there, guys, when it comes to that. Now, as promised, guys, the one stock that looks like it's going to be a really nice little setup for us is Newcrest Mining, which is NEM. I like an NEM for a few reasons. Firstly, if I zoom my chart out to the big picture, you can see how we were doing nothing through here, and now if I bring up my weekly charts, you can see how this whole level, where this whole support line was a major level of support in the markets. And so we've broken up to the new high, and now we're pulling back to this level here. So we're having a very nice pullback, and we're getting into an overbought territory now on Newcrest Mining. So if I bring up the last let's say bring up the last 3 to 6 months, somewhere around there, and you can see that. But you can see how this level through here is X marks the spot. So an aggressive entry. Well, there'll be 3 levels of entries that you might want to look at here. But again, there's no guarantees of this making a profit, because this could just keep going down. So there's 3 levels that you may want to consider. Firstly, is if we ever do get to here, if the market does pull back a little bit more, and we do get into the $68 level, then that's more of an aggressive entry where you're buying on a good dip. But we are buying on a good dip where we are definitely getting into a massive overbought territory. And if we do get that, we're probably likely to start to see a move up. That would be the aggressive level. The less aggressive level would be to wait for a good bounce. So if we had this sort of trend line coming down through here, or even if we just had from there to there, and then we started to getting a nice bounce up, maybe even from there, and maybe even from, say, there to there, potentially like that there. If once we start to get a nice break up, so the market started to turn around, and we get that with volume, then that'll be a less aggressive entry. And the more conservative entry would be to wait for the market to start to break above these highs here. If the market comes back down to here, and then holds and bounces, and then we start to get it back above here, yes, you're not getting on the turning point. But what happens is that once we start to get back above 74, we have now created a really nice situation where the market's ran up, it's now pulled back, it's got a high low, and now we're breaking past previous highs. There is a massive probability, if this happens, that the market's likely to continue and continue running on for at least for a short period of time. What I mean by maybe for another few weeks or more, to have at least have another nice leg up if we see this through here. So the real conservative would be a break above here, and then over the next course of a few weeks or maybe even a month, we're probably likely to see a nice leg up. That would be the most conservative, and with me personally, that's what I'll be personally doing. Because if I'm putting a really good amount of money into the market, I want to make sure that I'm being conservative and I'm waiting for the best entries. So even though you could get in down the bottom here and wait for that turning point, it's still a good probability entry, but the more higher probability and the conservative would be a break above $74. I hope this helps you out today, guys. Guys, make sure you join my webinar that I'm running today. On that webinar, I'm going to teach you exactly what I did, trading 16 years ago when I first started trading. My first 4 or 5 years, I lost $250,000, and then over the last 10 years, I've actually made a full-time income from trading. And I want to share with you exactly what I did. What was the one thing that I needed to do to go from losing money to making money? That's secret number 1. Secret number 2 is I'm going to share with you exactly my system. And secret number 3 is I'm going to share with you exactly how I scan the markets to find massive high probability trades, just like we're looking at here right now, to find really good setups within my trading rules to find really good, high quality, high potential trades. So guys, make sure you go to Johns, Johns, livetraining.com. I'm running that today. You should see a link in the description. And make sure you go do that right now. So go to Johns, Johns, livetraining.com. If you're struggling with your trading right now, guys, and you're losing money and you're going backwards, I promise you, secret number 1 is going to help you get the light bulb of what you need to do if you want to be long-term successful in this market, not just a quick get rich quick, but a long-term successful. If you're looking for a massively high successful trading system, I'm going to share that with you, my number 1 trading system. And if you're looking to see how I condense and how I scan the markets and have all my trading done within 1 hour, then secret number 3 is going to be for you as well too. So anyway, guys, I'm running that today. Click on the link in the description or go to Johns, Johns, livetraining.com. I'm looking forward to seeing you there today. Until next time, guys, I will speak to you soon.